Wukusu, peace, black power, and welcome to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School is a black nationalist, Pan-African community organization based in Harlem. We provide relevant and credible political education to help black people wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. To do this, we provide panel discussions, political commentary, mini documentaries, leadership tips, classes, and interviews with some of our most dedicated and effective leaders, activists, and intellectuals around the world. The concept of Wukusu is very important to us and central to our mission. It is our greeting, our motto, and our guiding philosophy. Wukusu is an acronym for the phrase,
Wake up, clean up, stand up.
Wake up means developing black nationalist and Pan-African consciousness. Clean up tells us to identify and eliminate our self-defeating behavior that gets in the way of us being our highest selves. Stand up compels us to use our gifts and our resources to exert leadership in our communities to help liberate our people. We humbly ask you to subscribe to our channel so we can reach more people. We encourage you to like, share, and comment on our videos, and we invite you to donate to our work either through sending us a super chat here on YouTube or by sending donations through Cash App to $TRUSELF143. Now, let's build. Peace and Black Power families, Brother I.J. Taimbo Wukusu of Harlem Liberation School, where we proudly teach black people, new Africans, to wake up, clean up, and stand up, particularly in these troubling times. You know, family, we are in the midst of a very important series here at Harlem Liberation School, the Community Empowerment Series, in which our specific focus and objective is to highlight sisters, black women, new African women in our community that are pouring love and service, nurturing, education, activism into our communities. We do this deliberately because we think that we should be doing that anyway. We do it politically because there is a campaign to disparage black women, to denigrate black women, to scapegoat black women for every vice under the sun. The kids are messing up at school, black women. Brothers out here robbing, stealing, black women. We have to put an end to that. We know that those problems are systemic and complex and nuanced. And it's not just, you can't just say because it's single parent homes or because the black women went to college or they didn't go to college, that's why we have so many problems. We want to absolutely eviscerate and murder, if I may use that harsh terminology. We want to murder that thinking. We want to make sure that thinking doesn't resurrect. It's either going to be both of us or none of us, family. If they get the black woman in the morning, they come to get the black man at night. And so we have to we want to kill all that noise right there. We want to show that our sisters, many of our sisters, even the ones who aren't necessarily politically conscious, I might add, are doing work in our communities, are the backbone of many of our households and our organizations. And we want to give light and love to them. We've had a number of wonderful sisters on, and today we continue this new tradition we're starting. We have a sister on, Sister Rhonda Sekhmet Ra. And I want to read some of her bio to give a proper introduction. She is a revolutionary poet and spoken word artist born and raised in Wilmington, North Carolina. Wilmington has produced a lot of powerful Africans, family. I don't know if you know. She's the founder of the Black Awakening Movement and has served as co-leader of the organization since 2014. Rhonda is a longtime advocate for the mental, spiritual, and physical well-being of people of African descent. In line with that, she's facilitated hundreds of groups centered around raising racial consciousness and bringing healing, that big H word that we need, to people of African descent, including Black Awakening Movement weekly discussions, the Black Women's Healing Group, and a number of poetry writing workshops. Rhonda has been performing spoken word since 2014 and has been invited to perform at over 100 venues across the East Coast. Now in 2023, she released her first spoken word album entitled The Awakening. And in 2024, she released a collection of poems entitled The Awakening Anthology, printed by Black Classic Press. As a poet and spoken word artist, Rhonda uses her art to free the mind, body, and soul of people of African descent. Her goal is to use the art of poetry as a tool for change, and she aims to follow the legacy of the revolutionary Black spoken word artists that came before her. And from what I'm hearing, I got a chance to listen to some of her poetry. She's doing a wonderful job at that. Without further ado, we're going to bring our good sister on. Sister Rhonda, how you
Yeah,
be?
I'm well. Well, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. Glad to see you. I follow some of your work, and I think I presented at your Black Awakening Facebook group maybe twice and stuff. And I know some really good people. Brother, first of all, Brother Khalil, Baba Khalil is down with that. He's also down with our brotherhood, Jiko La Kambunga, which means Eye of the Whirlwind. And so I know you do wonderful work, and I'm excited to have you here and to ask you some questions and to let your light shine to the community. So first we have my queen right here, Sister Brenda. She's greeting you with Wukusu,
Greetings, Usu.
and she's welcoming you to Harlem Liberation School, and she's reminding the family to please subscribe, like, and share the video. And I think there's another comment that she put up here. Yes, she wants to join us in welcoming Sister Rhonda Sekhmet Ra to our family and our forum. Thank you for that, Queen B. Thank you very much. With that said, we want to get right into it. I want to put a few things up so people know what is going on when they tune in. All right. You will notice that I have on the bottom scrolling information to get to Sister Rhonda's website. There you'll find more about her poems, her books, her performances, and ways to contact her if you want to get in touch with her, bring her to speak or do some poetry. That's the place you're going to go to support our good sister. Now, I have a bunch of questions. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, primarily because you're an artist, and I'm one of the things I do is spoken word poetry too. Art is important to me. I like to fuse it with politics. I want to know though. I like to ask people, how did you get into Black liberation consciousness? What people do you cite for that, or what incidents happened to you, or books you read, that got you on this path?
Yes. So I would give credit to Malcolm X for me coming into consciousness. I would say in terms of learning about racism and instilling confidence in myself as a Black person, I have to attribute that to my mother because she did that to us from a young age to always, remind us to be proud of being Black and to give us awareness of what was going on in the world. However, I went through this educational system just like everybody else and listened to this media just like everyone else. So I didn't consider myself conscious until 2014, and that was a time where shortly after the Ferguson protests and uprisings, I sat down and listened to Malcolm X speeches. And that shifted my consciousness drastically, very quickly, because everything that he was saying applied to that time. And it made me realize that this previous notion that I had about the progress that we had made and living in a post-racial society, that was an illusion. So that was the instance where my consciousness changed. And of course, after that, there was a lot of learning, there was a lot of studying. I'm still on a journey, learning more about our history and what's going on with us as a people. But that is what created the shift. So I always give credit to Baba Malcolm X for that, and helping me helping me wake up and see what's going on.
It's amazing as I'm listening to you speak, Sister Rhonda. I'm thinking, there goes that Baba Malcolm again, man. Posthumously in his death, bringing more people into liberation than many of us alive. It's amazing the power that he has to recruit and attract people. It's just amazing to me. I hear it all the time. He's part of my personal story, and he was special, and he just celebrated his 100th birthday, and that was a special African right there, man. the way he just brings so many people from all walks of life into the movement is probably unprecedented. Maybe the best thing in that respect is Marcus Garvey,
Mm,
certainly. But in any event, now you're the founder and you say co-leader
mhm.
of the Black Awakening movement. Um, what inspired you to create this organization, and what is its core mission? And also, Rhonda, I want to know, is that, I know you had, it's a Facebook group in formation, but it's also outside of Facebook as well.
Yes, absolutely. We started in Miami, Florida, which is where I was living at the time that I woke up. And when I came into this awakening, I realized that, there's a lot of my people that have no idea what's going on. Like I didn't know what was going on. I thought I knew what racism was. I thought I knew what we were dealing with, but I didn't. And so that inspired me to create the Black Awakening movement, just in order to raise our consciousness. And so the mission of the organization has always been to awaken our people to the truth about racism and who we are as a people. And of course, there's other things that come with that. We have to know what steps we need to take. We need to build community. We need to work towards sovereignty in that process. But that's what started the organization. And since then, we held weekly open discussions every Thursday at 7 for the past 10 plus years. We
Wow.
recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and done that consistently, and also done annual community events where we're also interacting in person as well, because that's important, providing informational handouts and resources to the community, and just in whatever way we can to build that consciousness and build that community. And the reason I'm a co-leader is because all of our members of the organization are considered to be leaders, because
Mm,
that's the structure of the organization, is that there's not one person leading, but that we all are leaders in our own way.
okay, very good, very good. It's amazing. You said you consider yourself having become conscious in 2014,
Mhm.
right? And it's 2025. There are people that have been conscious for 30 years, and they're not creating vessels and vehicles for political education and healing as you've done. So I think that's a major thing. So I think consciousness is supposed to um, manifest itself in fruit,
Mhm.
right? We're not we talk about we may be learned, we may be knowledgeable, but we may not be conscious if we see no fruit. So I do want to congratulate you for being a person who's kind of trying embodying this idea of what consciousness looks like. If Sister Rhonda's consciousness is conscious, we should see evidence of that in the things that come forth from Sister Rhonda or myself or anyone else. So I want to definitely congratulate you for that. And I know that you've also facilitated many healing and consciousness raising groups for people of African descent, for our people, our folk. Um, so, as you see it from your different experiences and workshops and whatnot, what type of healing do we need? Where do you find that we struggle the most from your experience?
Mhm. Mm. It's so much. It's hard to even put in words what we've experienced as a people. I feel like, talking about trauma, it's not even enough to really put together all that we've dealt with, generationally, historically, and what we're still dealing with now, because we're not just dealing with our own personal traumas, but we're dealing with collective traumas, and we're dealing with a system that's actively oppressing us, and we were born into this. So I think that we need healing in all areas of life, and that's one reason. Also, about I think it maybe a year after my awakening, maybe less than that, I started Lionheart Life Healing, which was an organization to provide healing to people of African descent. So I did this through community events. I also started a Black Women's Healing Group that we did for a few years, just so sisters could focus on their healing. So I think that the healing that we need as a people, is it's multifaceted. It's on different levels, because we need that psychological healing. We need that spiritual healing. There's so many things in our culture that are healing, We need each other. We need to heal our relationships with each other, so that we can move forward, as a people. And we also need to, heal on a social level, meaning that we need to we need to change the situation that we're living in. I don't think we'll ever get our full healing, until the society that we're living in is different. And the only way that that's going to happen is we move towards, African sovereignty, that we move towards liberation and sovereignty as a people. So I think our healing is on many different levels. And I think it starts when we have, what they call safe spaces, where we can heal, and we can commune, and we can grow, and we can talk, um, and figure our way out of the situation.
Yes, yes. And you know, I'm listening to you. I'm like, she's right and exact. Also, it seems like those of us who are healers, who've been given that divine assignment, part of our divine assignment, two, we're under a lot of positive pressure to be lifelong learners. Do you find that to be true? You're constantly reading, and because we have to pour out a lot. So for us to pour out, we got to have something in that tank, right? Do you find that you're constantly reading and checking out this video and learning from this Baba and Mama? Could you talk to us about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, that saying that they say, like, the more that you learn, the less that you know. That's exactly how I feel now. I mean, I really feel like I'm just starting to learn. And I think also because so much has been, removed from us in terms of, knowing our history, and just the understanding that our ancestors had about the world, about nature, about spirituality. Is it's I still feel like I'm scratching the surface of that, even though I've consumed a lot of information, watched a lot of videos, read a lot of books. It's just, I feel like it's so much learning, and I don't even know if I'll be able to learn everything I want to in this lifetime. But it's definitely a continuous process.
I shade for that. I shade for that. Now, your work as a poet and a spoken word artist is deeply intertwined with your activism. Could you explain for those watching uh, how you see poetry and spoken word as tools for healing and liberation? Because, a lot of people just don't appreciate the arts. We talk about the Black Power movement, we forget about the Black Arts and Consciousness movement. That actually came a year before the Black Power movement. And so I'm really hoping you can help people understand, through answering this, the importance of the arts in your life personally and for us as a people when we talk about liberation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important because I think even when I started sharing poetry, in a political way, I don't even think I recognized, how important it was, for the overall movements, because I was doing the activism, the organizing at the same time I was doing the poetry. And so sometimes I would see that as more important, or the healing as more important. But poetry, arts in general, has always been a part of our movements. And just culturally as a people, art is very important to us. A lot of our people have always seen it as a connection to the spiritual. And even, those who come against us as a people have studied the way that music and other art forms influence us. So they know how influential these things can be on us. But a lot of us don't know that. But the more that I learn about our history, and the more that I've learned, about Black movements of the past, is that the arts always came with that. You always had that as part of it, because it's really the voice of the revolution. It's the words, it's the inspiration that we need to keep going. And I think also this work that we're doing is so, it challenging is not enough of a word, but it gets heavy, it gets hard. And we also need, an outlet. We need things that keep us going, whether that's, hearing the poetry or writing the poetry. And that's part of the reason that I started the workshop, to give our people another type of outlet, because not everybody is going to necessarily go to the healing groups and things like that. But poetry itself could be a form of healing, to be able to write, to express ourselves, and to also hear it. So I feel like it's essential. in our movements is essential to any other thing, you know, as you mentioned earlier, you know, all the other aspects of getting our liberation and getting our healing is just as important.
Appreciate that. Now, sister, we cannot have you here and let you go without getting a taste of some of the fire, the bars. Would you be able to grace us with a poem or two before we move on
Absolutely.
to the interview, the next part of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
Um,
right.
so I'll start with one poem. This piece is called Children of the Sun. Children of the sun, it's time to rise again. They tried to dim your light, but we are back again. Out of the blackness we are born. Out of the darkness we come into form. Spirit of Ra in human form, no one could stop the sun for life. But believe me, they tried. The clouds may have covered us, but again, we will rise. Our tears came down like rain, but the ancestors have heard our cries. Now we must listen to them, those who have walked this path before and who knew the way out for sure, who sacrificed their life for freedom. Can't you see that we are all that we have ever needed, children of the sun? Don't forget from where you came. You may not be able to call all your ancestors by name, but you could call the name of the sky, the sun, and the moon. And just like all the universe, they are a part of you. Your skin glistens in the sunshine. That's a form of love I cannot describe. They try to block out the sun, but they can't do it forever. Imagine what would happen if we got together and said we won't take no more. If we actually knew what we were fighting for. What if we all agreed to finally be free and live in our true divinity? What if the children of the sun aim to burn out all the evils of the world and make a beautiful earth for our baby boys and girls? Our mother Africa has been calling to us, but can we hear her screams? The earth heats up and speaks. We can no longer wait. We cannot allow ice people with cold hearts to seal our fate. We've endured enough pain. It's time to feel something else. Why are you afraid when all the cosmos lie within you? Why do you hate yourself when all the world envies you? Why do you feel like you are lacking when you've been given all you need to be abundant and free? Why do you call yourself poor when your mother has the richest resources in all the world? Why do you keep letting thieves walk right through your door? We've forgotten our worth, allowed abuse for far too long, endured the pain with soulful songs, but now it's time for a change. Neglecting ourselves is the greatest sin, children of the sun. It's time to rise again. It's time to rise again. It's time to rise again. It's time to rise again, children of the sun. It's time to rise again.
Shay, it is indeed time to rise again, children of the sun. Beautiful poem, Sister Rhonda. Beautiful, beautiful. Very good. It covers all the bases. And I want people watching, don't just like the poetry. Don't just say you like what she's talking about. We here at Harlem Liberation School, we about fusing theory with action. If you like what you heard, go to that website, get a book or two, an album. If you have a part of an organization and you have a budget, invite her to come speak and do some poetry in your city. That's the way we're trying to get down. It's more than just saying I love you. We got to do the work that demonstrates love in real ways, tangible ways, if we're going to be free. If white people just talked, we'd be good. But if they have weaponry and weaponized police and weaponized legislation, and they got all these super PAC groups and lobbying groups, they're putting in work. So if we want to be free, we got to put in work too. Sister Rhonda, can I trouble you maybe for one more poem? That was excellent, by the way. Do you have one more for us?
Yes, if I may read it.
Please, yes.
It's from my book. This is the book, The Awakening Anthology. And this piece is called Get Out. They give you poison water, then tell you to drink up. The TV is filled with gold diggers and sluts who sell their soul for paper money no longer backed by gold. You spend more time in prison fighting for freedom than for raping a child. The government is filled with pedophiles, bloodsuckers who practice rituals of the occult. Stolen ideas, blood money, false power they use to inflate the illusion of their grandiosity while they practice hypocrisy. And our eyes are closed as they keep guiding us to hell on a spiritual and physical plane. We listen to the same lies over and over again until they become our reality, giving up our power to inhuman beings. Go within, the martyr cries. Depart from her wickedness, the prophet cries. Come out of her, my people, run. Go and get your gun. Go and get your son and your daughters. Get out of this Sodom and Gomorrah. Who could imagine this horror? Evil is justified while justice is condemned. We still sing hymns of our enslavement, forgiving with our faces pushed down on the pavement. Why do you trust those who have oppressed you for centuries? You become infected with their disease. You've made sense of the insanity. Get out, Sika Lisa, listen. The ancestors cry, get out before you die. The way out ain't through no airplane or door. The way out is the way in for sure. Go within, reclaim your soul, liberate the mind that the devil stole. Reclaim your power and reclaim your destiny so we could finally be free. The years grew on us. The pain grows on us like mold. My people, it's time to cleanse. Behold, we must cure and purify. Cry if you need to, but don't let that lead you. Lead with spirit, not emotion. Spirit is the wave in the ocean of God. We are all a part of God. We are God. We are gods. We can be the devil too. If we don't get it right, I beg you, get out of this wicked place. Reclaim your sacred space. Reclaim your name, your tongue, your love for everyone. Reclaim your connection to nature, your connection to the all. Watch this wicked system fall. As you build a new heaven and a new earth, put your seeds in the dirt. We have already seen the worst and dishonored our children with our passivity. When we say enough is enough, you see, when we stop condoning evil just to maintain the status quo, we can no longer pretend that we don't know. There's only one way to go. Get out in mind, get out in body, get out in spirit, get out, get out, get out. Thank you.
Beautiful. We're gonna give you the snaps like they do in some of the poetry cafes. Very good, very good. Love the themes, love the delivery, the cadence, the flow. Excellent. Family, make sure that you support our good sister by copying, as we would say in Harlem, buying some of her I hate this term merch, it sounds so trite. Some of her products, her merchandise. And if you can, again, invite it to your city and let us spit some of those bars, those fiery bars. Now, this is a perfect segue to this question, Sister Rhonda. Let me just ask you off the cuff. So I noticed it's Rhonda Sekhmet Ra. So I'm assuming that you rocking with comedic science there, right?
Yes, I wouldn't say that's the only spirituality that I ascribe to, but yes, definitely it's important to me.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. Now in the years 2023 and 24, you released the Awakening album and the Awakening anthology. What themes or messages did or do you hope to push out through your art to our people? What will be their takeaway when they buy these products and listen to them and read them?
Yeah. My hope is that people gain either a new consciousness or either confirmation of what is happening to us as a people, and also to feel inspired to do something about it. To me, those are the two most important things, and that's what I would have wanted, in my state of unconsciousness, and even in my state of consciousness, for someone to say what needs to be said, to say the truth about what's going on, and to also let us know that there is a way out, and we do have the power to change things.
Right. And so the Queen Bee is asking where are your products available, and I'm assuming that is at the website that I had scrolling earlier, right?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna put
everything.
that back up.
Thank you so much. Yes, everything is at Rhonda Spoken Word. That's Rhonda with an H, spokenword.com. You can find the books there, and all the spoken word books that I have now have been, as you mentioned earlier, printed by Black Classic Press. And there's also an option if you want them signed or anything like that. This will be the time now, because I'm getting ready to put it on a different platform so that people can get it a different way, but that way I won't be able to sign them. And there's the album is on there as well. I think it's still on there. So, but you can also listen to it on a streaming platform. I have
Mm.
physical copies just as collectibles, but you can also listen to the album on all streaming platforms.
Now, it dawned on me, because a lot of what you do is auditory. Do you have a podcast as well?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me go to some of these questions. Um, so as someone I see in your biography, you reference the fact that you kind of carrying on the tradition of other spoken word artists. Yes, other spoken word artists. And I immediately think of people like Amiri Baraka and Sonia Sanchez and Mari Evans and just a whole bunch of wonderful poets, last poets, Gil Scott Heron. Um, as someone who follows in this legacy of revolutionary Black spoken word artists, who are some of your greatest influences in that world? And how would you say they've shaped your approach or
Mm,
your art?
that's a good question. I would say for me, unfortunately, I wasn't introduced to a lot of these artists until I had already started performing. And so for me, early on my journey, most of my inspirations were actually leaders, revolutionary leaders.
Mm,
And so they influenced a lot of my poetry. But once I learned more about the artists that came before me, I realized, the legacy that I was carrying on and the shoulders that I was standing on. And so they are influential to me now. And I would say most notably Gil Scott Heron. That's one artist that I feel, as many of them, as many that you mentioned, that really just spoke the raw truth about what was going on with us as a people. And still to this day, listening to his poetry and listening to his music helps me to get the strength to keep going. So, definitely influential, and there's so many to mention, but yes, I want to give honor and recognition to all of them, as well as the leaders that have inspired me, the ancestral leaders and the living leaders that have influenced my poetry as well.
appreciate that. Um, and I think that our ancestors who were in who used the art of speech and music would appreciate that as well. Which is a perfect segue to this question. Many say that spoken word or performance poetry is the offspring, or actually that hip hop is the offspring of
Mm.
spoken word poetry. Now, I think there's a lot of influences, but I think there's validity to that. But speaking of hip hop, what is your position on um, the power of hip hop music to really reach a lot of young people and older people too with revolutionary and conscious messages? And what is your take on the mainstream hip hop that you're hearing on the radio and streaming platforms now?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, the people that work against us, our enemies, know the impact that music has on us as a people and how it has influenced our thinking, it has influenced movements. And so I feel right now, mainstream hip hop is very much controlled, and there's a lot of destructive music that's in the mainstream right now that's impacting our youth. At the same time, there are a lot of revolutionary hip hop artists, that we may not know by name, that are doing the work to put the truth in music, to promote consciousness, to promote things that are healthy and healing, for our people. And I think also with the rise of social media and other outlets, that weren't, typical of the music industry back in the day, I think that you're seeing more independent artists rise up. And so I think that there are some artists, even some well-known artists, that are doing their best in order to promote music that is empowering, for our people. So yeah, I think all of those things are going on at the same time, and we just need more people to, well, one, listen to the music, but also to promote it and make sure that we're giving that to our young people too, because a lot of times I see people, they complain about the music, but they're not giving our young people alternatives. And you may not get them to listen to it right away, but you can at least expose them to different things, so that they have something else, to listen to.
And I'm curious, what is in Sister Rhonda Sekhmet Ra's playlist when you're chilling and you trying to get in your zone and you trying to get work done?
Oh
What do you put
man.
on? What do you listen to? Who are some of the artists that you like?
So it's so many. Just a few. One of the first ones, when you mentioned just consciousness in hip hop, I was thinking about Richard Raw. he does a real excellent job of just uh, putting that culture into the music, and I appreciate that. So Rock is another one of my
Mm.
favorite artists. I love listening to reggae music as well. But yeah, my playlist is all over the place. You know, it might go from one thing to the next, and I listen to some modern artists too. You know, as well. So it's a mixture. Yes.
No doubt. Now, I think you mentioned to me that you attended the Baruti's one of their complementarity conferences before. Is that right?
Yes, I think I've been to at least two, maybe more.
Okay. And I think you said that you saw some of the broadcasts the other day we did with the Barudis. I'm
Yes.
curious because that event is coming up next month. Um, what did you when you went to that complementarity conference? What was some of your takeaways? Would you endorse or promote it for other Africans and new Africans to attend?
Absolutely, absolutely. I really think all African centered people need to be there because the state of our relationships right now is, oh, it's not good. And that's one thing we talk about a lot in the Black Awakening movement. We take uh every month we have one discussion on healing the relationship between black men and black women because we feel that we're kind of in a state of emergency with that. And so I think it's important for all of us with that mindset to attend the conference. And I know it's for singles like myself and people who are married as well. I think we all need to be in that space. And some of the takeaways I had, one thing that was really helpful for me was hearing people's experiences that were in relationships, and the growth that they've had, and hearing also the wisdom from the elders. That was just, it was just feeling like I was getting poured into, because another thing that's happened to us is we've learned about relationships from a Eurocentric Western perspective. And so part of our healing too is seeing relationships different, and seeing them in a more balanced way. And so that's been part of my process too, is to be able to even heal my perspective and see examples of healthy relationships, and see examples of what long-term marriage looks like, and um, seeing what it means to be African centered in a marriage. And so that has been really impactful for me. Just the thing that stuck out the most to me, honestly, was the examples, because that's something we don't get a lot of, and more of the negative examples are always put in our face. So seeing those examples has been really helpful, and again, just getting that wisdom from the elders poured into us was really helpful. And so yeah, I encourage everyone, who's African centered, to definitely attend, because you're definitely going to leave with something. Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And I know the Barudis will thank you for that as well. We try and get as many people to support that. They make a good point. We talk about nation building this, nation building that, and we're not looking at our family as the primary unit of nation. And so, yeah, we have to do that. When Malcolm says our greeting, and I've developed a whole self empowerment framework around Wukusu, wake up, clean up. People forget that cleanup part. And we
Hmm.
got people waking up and standing up. But that cleanup part is that quiet, personal, when no one's around to clap or work that you do. And it's very difficult. But it sets the foundation for really being almost like gods and goddesses right on this earth in the power that we can exert. So I appreciate your reflections on that. I'm curious to know, when you go, do you go to Poetry Cafe? Well, first of all, I don't know if you're still in North Carolina and Wilmington. I don't know where you live, but where you live, do you go to poetry cafes and perform?
Yes, yes, definitely. I'm still in North Carolina, not in Wilmington anymore, but I still go back and forth. But yes, I go to open mics. I'm invited to speak a lot of times in different places. So wherever I can share, I share. I've been doing that for the past decade, nonstop. It's really something I feel just in my spirit called to do, and it's something that helps me as well to share. So yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
and your group Black Awakening on Facebook is making a lot of noise, a lot of members, A lot of people are members of the group, and I notice every week, without fail, the group has something going on. It's very I I I have a simple way of looking at things. I don't think that grandiose things are the most impactful. I think small, consistent things is what
Mm-hmm.
makes the great change. And
Mm-hmm.
so I noticed that every week you have something. And actually, I want to apologize. I feel like I wish I could participate in some of them. I teach a Black political education class on Thursday nights at 7, which is the same time that you all have those events. But to bring people up to speed so they can get a sense of the work you do and the organization does, what are some of the, if not workshop titles, topics that you all have addressed over the past years?
Oh, it's been so many. One again that we've done multiple times is healing the relationship between Black men and Black women. A lot of times we talk about current things that are going on with us as a people. One of the, I would say, the themes of everything that we're talking about is how do we get out of this situation. So we have that portion of discussion, but we also talk about what are some things that we can change in our own lives that will help us to change our condition as a people. So we've talked about everything from, the violence that's happened to us, to economics, to spirituality. Sometimes we discuss certain books. We talk about psychology. We talk about the language. It's just everything that you could think that relates to us as a people. And also just, developing ourselves, because that part is important as well. So we've covered a lot of topics over the years. Like I said, we've been doing it every week since 2014. So there's been a lot of topics covered at over the years, and we continue to cover. And also, when people can also always suggest topics as well, that it may be something that we haven't thought to cover yet that somebody will bring to us, and we always have guest speakers as well that come in and bring their expertise. Like when you came on the call, really, really, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it. And I think it's important to hear from people who have been doing the work for a long time, because we also don't want to just be talking amongst ourselves and running in circles. We also want to get that information from people who have already done the work, and that can help guide us into the right direction.
Yes, indeed. Now, I was wondering when I asked about you participating in poetry, open mics, and stuff. As a general trend, have they been billed as African centered poetry venues, or these are regular poetry venues and open mics? And some people come up African centered, and some people don't. What's been the trend, and what type of topics do you hear a lot in the poetry cafes?
I wouldn't consider most of the open mics I've been to be African centered, but I will say that a lot of our people talk about, what's going on with us in terms of racism, domination, however you categorize it. And so you'll always see that consciousness on a mic in some aspects. But to be honest, I've spoken in places where nobody is talking about those things, and I've been in places where the majority of people are talking about those things. I've been in all types of spaces
Mm,
before, I've even been in spaces where someone didn't want to hear it, and
right.
so um, to me, I think it's important for those of us who are African centered or revolutionary conscious, however you categorize yourself, to show up in spaces too that we're not typically at. Because a lot of times we're just talking to each other, and the
Hmm.
people who really need to hear these things, they're not coming to those spaces. So I try where I can to go to spaces, wherever our people are. And so, yeah. And also, on that same note, the Black Awakening Movement does open mic as well. So that is an African Center open mic. It's
Hmm.
virtual though. And our next one is next Thursday. So if anyone's interested in sharing some poetry, we'll be doing that as well. Poetry or songs.
That's excellent, Sister Rhonda. And that's your events through Black Awakening on Facebook are every Thursday at 7, correct?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. So those of you watching live or who will watch this in later recorded version, if you have that time available, or if you don't, maybe you try to make some available. to check out some really powerful political, cultural, and artistic content that is framed specifically for us, for our folks. Sometimes we don't have a lot of things that speak directly to us, that are made directly for us. And so when we find those watering holes in the desert, man, drink up, family. Don't let all that work go to waste. Support coming out, check sister out. If people want to join Black Awakening Group, Sister Rhonda, they go to Facebook. How would that happen?
So we have a group we have a Facebook group, but we also have a group on a bb2me.com, which is an African Center educational platform. So definitely join on there as well. Because we don't, luckily we've been able to maintain our group, but it could be gone at any time. So definitely make sure that you're on both. But yeah, if you want to join in the discussions, you could join the Facebook group in order to get the updates and see the information that's posted there. Or again, you can also join on bb2me.com. You can also reach out to me if you're having any trouble, getting into either one, and we could send you the login directly as well. But that's the main way that people usually join in, and a lot of people they're just coming a lot of people they'll come back the same week or the next week. So a lot of times we have our recurring members that keep coming back. So yeah, definitely come and get that information, and if that appeals to you. And you can also go to our website, which is blackawakeningmovement.com. And I also want to give recognition to the leadership team of Black Awakening Movement. I don't know if we talked a lot about them, but even though I am the founder of Black Awakening Movement, I have not sustained it on my own. Leadership team has really helped to maintain it, even at times where I was unable to participate. So I definitely want to give a shout out to them as well, because they have been so influential. And you mentioned Baba Khalil, who's one of our elders. Mama Makeda also is our female mother elder in the Black Awakening movement, and they've really been the core of helping it go on along with the rest of the leadership team.
Excellent. Shout out to everyone that's helping with the Black Awakening movement, and shout out for a degree of humility that you're demonstrating and shouting them out. That's important. We don't do anything worthy by ourselves. We tend to mess up a lot by ourselves. I've messed up
Yeah.
a lot by myself for sure. But yeah, we need soldiers and warriors with us, and healers to help us along our journey. So that's important. So shout out Baba Khalil, Sister Makeda, Queen Makeda, all the different Africans who are helping with your platform there. I'm very interested because as an artist, we are, what's the word? We operate on energy and vibration. You come into the room, you meet somebody, you shake their hand, you get a you ever been, or you walk into a room and this space is not conducive to what I'm about, or vice versa. And we want to leave footprints. All the artists I know, they want to have an impact. They want to almost have a legacy. I'm curious to know. And while I'm asking Sister Rhonda this question, those of you watching, if you have questions, post them up now so that we can get a good harvest of questions I can ask our sister. I want to know, Sister Rhonda, one day physically in the physical dimension, you won't be here, but you'll be in another dimension. And what is it that you want your impact to be as an artist, as an African-centered woman? What do you want to leave? What is your legacy? Or what do you want your legacy to be, I should say?
The main thing that I want is for our people to really understand what's going on, and to recognize the power that they have internally and also collectively, um, so that we can change our condition. Because I think a lot of times, even when we come to understand what's going on, a lot of us don't feel like we can do anything, or we only feel like there's so much we can do. But I just want our people to know the power that we have internally and our ability to change our reality. And again, on an individual level and on a collective level, to me, that's the most important thing. And just being a part of the centuries long effort to get us back to African liberation and sovereignty. just being a part of that.
Well spoken, my sister. Well spoken. Now, I'm curious to know, when I see shining stars in our community, uh, I'm assuming you're younger than me. All this white beard I got. I'm curious to know, who are their teachers? Who are the people in their personal lives that poured into them, that took them to certain places and exposed them? Are there any elders that poured into you, helped make you the sister you are, that you'd like to discuss and shout out while we're on the platform?
Well, I first have to give honor to my mother because she was my first teacher. Again, instilling that pride in me. And also, as I mentioned, the elders of the Black Awakening movement, Mama Makeda and Baba Khalil, because I was pretty young when I started the organization. I didn't know a lot. I learned a lot as I was doing the organization, and so I definitely want to shout out to them for the guidance that they've given, and just promoting that balance within the organization as well. And also just elders that haven't necessarily I haven't necessarily had a lot of direct contact with, but have been very influential. One of those is Baba and Mwalimu Barudi, who you just had on. Reading his books, listening to his lectures, just watching him post has helped me to just keep going, because there's a lot of days where it gets tough. As well as Baba Imhotep, I want to give both of them recognition, because they have helped me so much on my journey, whether they know it or not, just from listening to them, and just from seeing the work that they're doing and them staying consistent in who they are. That has helped me to keep going. So I definitely want to shout out to them, and also to my ancestors. I think having that connection to my ancestors is one of the most beautiful things that has come out of me coming into consciousness. And that is a place where having that connection constantly, one, reminds me of who I am, and also that I'm connected to a journey that started before I was born, and that's probably going to continue after I'm gone. And so having that reminder just reminds me I'm on this continuum, and so it's not it's not about me. And that definitely has helped me keep going in this journey.
Appreciate that. As we're coming to a close, I'm trying to see. I don't see any questions, but I do think, Sister Rhonda, we did a good job of highlighting who you are, whose you are, and who you're trying to impact, and the ways that you impact them and us. And so we want to say, on behalf of Harlem Liberation School, thank you for the work that you're doing, for the African woman you are, the woman that you're becoming, yet to be. And we certainly hope that those watching live or recorded, whenever you watch this, family, that you will go to our sister's website, and that you will support her by maybe getting some of her merchandise or products, maybe by joining a Facebook group, Black Awakening Movement. I'm going to put the website on the bottom. Reach out to sister, bring it to your city. We really have to do a better job of putting our money where our mouth is, putting our politics where our mouth is, and fusing the theory with practice. Finding how, a question that I think we should all be asking, apparently it's a question that you ask, is how can I help other Africans and new Africans? How can I bridge gaps? How can I bring people together? How can I help people eat? There's a number of ways to say it, but those are the type of questions we have to ask to help each other, right? In tangible ways. And if we don't understand that, think about the Heritage Foundation and how all of these crackers, pardon my language, that are ultra conservative and racist, right? And pedophilic, and I can keep going,
Yep.
all work together. They came from different conservative organizations, and they disagree on a whole lot of things, but they came together for that Project 2025, and they worked together and they still working together. House, Senate, right, and all these different capacities. We can learn from our enemies. One thing that we better learn, and we better learn it quick, is the capacity to work with each other and don't get caught up in the emotional thing. Well, I don't like him and her. Don't get caught up in that. We gotta work together despite differences, and even despite sometimes when we quote unquote don't like each other. I found when I was much younger and I was a little bit more rigid, and I called myself not liking certain Africans, new Africans, that after I worked with some of them, Sister Rhonda, I actually found out, wow, this person is nothing like what I thought. I had preconceived notions, So I hope that everybody will come and support our sister. I want to see if there's any comments first before we close up. The Queen Bee is shouting you out, Sister Rhonda, says you're a blessing to our people, and that is a beautiful thing to say.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So with that said, Sister Rhonda, before we go, is there anything that you did not say that you want to make sure you say before we end this particular broadcast?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me on here. It's an honor to be recognized. Like I said, I feel like I'm still on this journey. So I appreciate you taking time to honor sisters in the community. It's much, much appreciated. And thank you also for the work that you're doing for our people as well.
Thank you. Sister, like you, I'm fulfilling my divine assignment. And hopefully I got a long way to go to
Hey.
fulfill it. But we want to thank you for being available, for the work you do, for the people you inspire that you may not even know about. That's very important work that you're doing, particularly when you're using the arts, because the arts connects with people, as you know, in ways that a whole 2-hour speech won't. It's something about the arts that just hits people in a different place. It hits differently. And with that said, sister, thank you so much. We're going to stay in touch. I'm going to probably be changing up my political education class, so I might in the future be able to make some of these really good events that your group is offering on Thursday nights. And family, all information is here. If you didn't catch it, go back and watch it again and catch the information and spread the word. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Harlem Liberation School Online, and to help our mission to provide our people with relevant and credible Black political education. With that said, peace and Black power. Wukusu. Thank you, Sister Rhonda.
Peace and Black power. Thank you.
Free the land, family.
Yes.
African sovereignty is the win. Not getting a person in a political office. The win is being self-governing. Peace and Black power.